right, guys, welcome back. It's another day. It's the next day, and we're going to glue a few more, actually maybe just two more panels together. These two right here are the front, and just to let you know, we have left this piece a little bit long on purpose, both of them, because when we start doing some fine tuning in the Tahoe with the port, we want to be able to fine tune the opening of the port.
We need to make that opening exactly 6 inches. So if some of our cuts end up being a little short or something, we want to accommodate for that to be able to trim this piece to make it exactly 6 inches.
Yeah, so we left it a little long. It wasn't a lot, but we want to be able to get it right on 6 inches, and then we left the port long because we want to be able to do some testing with the tuning of the port to get this box tuned exactly like we want it. We have a SMD IMSG for doing that. That's going to be awesome for being able to fine tune this thing. So anyhow, we're going to put these two together today, and we're going to put the port together today. After that, the only thing left as far as gluing together is the three top pieces. But we are going to cut the holes, all 12?
12 holes.
All 12 holes in those three pieces before we glue them together. So that's going to be fun, watching us use the circle jig and the router and getting all them holes just right. So Skylar, let's put some glue on there.
All right. First pour of the day.
Oh man, that's cool. Pretty cool. Nice. All right, we're gonna get the we're gonna put a new roller on, or new sponge or whatever on the roller, and get this spread out. All right, we got those front pieces done and carried inside. These are the port, so we are even going to have the port doubled up. I know that seems overkill, but the truth is we want the port to be strong as well. So the port, like I said, we've left it, it's a little bit long. This is going to be a slot port on the bottom, so it's going to go all the way across the box. Let's look at it this way. It's going to go all the way across the box. It's going to be about 6 inches from the bottom of the box and go all the way across. We're thinking with our calculations that the tuning would allow for the port to go straight back and then just need to be a certain length. We don't think it's going to have to go back and turn up the back wall. If it does, we'll build it to do that.
We do still have the scrap pieces to do that.
Yep.
That's long enough to do that.
Yep. That's right.
And another thing about the port being doubled, the main reason why I wanted to do the port double is because we're going to have some bolts and stuff to hold the port up, and then the inside of the box is going to be braced, sitting on top of the port like this, going up to the top piece where the subs are sitting. Mm-hmm. So this will kind of be the platform for everything else to be mounted onto.
Yep.
For extra strength of just the box in general. So.
Yep, that's right. But if we've calculated correctly, the port will probably not have to go and turn up the back wall some as well. But if it does, we're going to do it that way, and we got the wood to do it. So, all right, let's get to working on gluing on the port. All right, guys, there's the glue. We've been doing the same process all throughout. One side heavy, or, relatively heavy. The other side kind of light. We're fixing to sandwich them together. Put about 100 brad nails in that, give or take. And then we'll be done. We are probably after that going to measure our baskets and start planning for the layout of the holes for the first top piece and where those 4 subs will sit. If we've got time, we'll get to some of that today as well. But for right now, it's about putting these 2 pieces together. All right, let's do that. All right, guys, we're going to show you how we measure for a cutout of a subwoofer or any speaker. If you've never done it this way, you're missing out. Same thing with using a circle jig with a router. But check this out. Get yourself a square and you put it right up against the back side of the flange, up against there, and it's flush now. And then you take, I can't remember what you call this. I don't know, but you need something that's also straight, and this works perfect because of the way it lays on here. But you lay it on here, and then you run it up on the other side, and then you see what that measurement is. And I'll just tell you right now, this is 13 and 7/8. Let me go back. There's 14 inches. So these are 1/8 a piece. So that's 7/8. The next one over is 3/4. But see how that comes out perfect? So that is the exact. Sometimes you'll hear they'll recommend a cutout. You stick it in there and it's kind of sloppy in the hole a little bit. If you'll measure your baskets like this and then use a circle jig, that thing will come out that exact size. And when you drop your subs in, it is the nicest fit you've ever seen. Sometimes there's absolutely zero wiggle at all. And so that's our cutout. We're fixing to lay out 4 holes that are 13 and 7/8 inches. All right, guys, we just got this thing laid out. It's really exciting that we're at this point. We're doing this already. But so we did all the measurement. We split the board into 4 equal squares, and then we did the very center of some of these lines. You can see better than others probably, but we can see them good enough. But yeah, it's all laid out. That's the very middle of where all 4 of these subs are gonna be. So I think we've got enough time today to start cutting out some holes. Yeah, so sit tight for us just a minute while we figure that out. All right, so we finally have the circle jig set up. If you've ever fooled with a router much, you know that the setup and all that is pretty lengthy, especially with a circle jig. So basically, I have a little Makita router. I have the 2 bases. I have the plunge base, which is perfect for doing circle jigs because you're not gonna cut this hole out in one pass. It's best to do 3 passes on like a 3/4 inch piece of wood. So you'll go down about a 1/4 inch, and then the next cut cuts about a 1/2 inch. Then the next cut will cut, about 3/4 of an inch total. But you have to go through this process of making sure that that bit is dead in the center of that hole. And then you figure out, so right here, you come over to however many inches you're gonna cut. It's got all these little, you put the pin in. So you come to 13 inches, and that measurement for that basket came out to 13 and 7/8. And so that's how that works. But incrementally, look at all these fine adjustments. As you think about it, that's basically just working its way from there to here, but it's doing it in that many steps. So some very fine adjustments. So, but what you do is you drill a pilot hole that is 1/8 of an inch, because that's the size of that pin. And after you drill your pilot hole, you set that pin in there, and then you start going around with your router. We'll show you some of that. I know a lot of you guys have seen this before. A lot of you guys have done this before, but I'm sure I'm talking to some people here that's unfamiliar with this. So, just doing that for all of you guys. All right, let's get to cutting some holes, but first we're gonna drill those 4 pilot holes. All right, guys, Skylar's gonna drill our pilot holes, and it's very important to make these pilot holes as straight as possible with your drill. They still come out really good if that hole is, a little bit crooked. The truth is it'll still come out really, really well. But you wanna get these as straight as possible. So Skylar, go ahead. All right, looks good. And you want to make sure that you're not going to waller that hole out. So like when you go all the way through it, and you don't actually have to go all the way through if you don't want to. But what I'm saying is don't let that drill bit walk back and forth on you where you waller that hole out, because you need this pin right here to be a really nice fit in that hole. So, all right, we're gonna do that 3 more times, and then we're gonna get to using this router. All right, he just got done with drill number 2, but just for any of y'all wondering, can I get this to focus? We did use a punch. We got that exact measurement. I don't know if you can tell right there, but we did use a punch. He's got a little bit of a divot right there that he's setting that drill bit in, because you can't really afford for this drill bit to walk on you very much. So we did punch all 4 of these. All right, guys, we're pumped about making these next 4 holes. That's such a big step for us. Also, I just wanted to tell you, make sure you elevate your workpiece when you're doing these. You know, those holes that he was just drilling, we were elevated. There's no way that drill bit was going to hit that plywood underneath. This router bit is not going to hit that piece underneath. We'll move our 2x4s around here to make sure that we're not going to hit anything like that. But always make sure. A lot of people have ruined stuff underneath by forgetting to elevate their workpiece. All right, guys, I wanted to show you all this. I don't know if every router has this, but I have these preset to basically, see, these rotate. I know I got my hand in the way. This rotates, and there's this little stopper right here, and you've got adjustments on the stopper too. And I have that basically, see, that's hitting the wood right there, but we're going to go down, that's about 1/4 of an inch until you get down to that. Then we'll rotate it. Then that next cut is going to allow us to go down to there until it stops. That's going to be roughly 1/2 an inch. And then the last cut, there should be about 3/4 of an inch. And sometimes you have to make some final adjustments. It may not come out exactly right, but it is really handy having this thing here with this particular router. So anyhow, let's get started. Let's make this first cut.
All right, guys, we just got done with the first cut of the first hole on the piece of board, and we got our hole, the first 1/4 inch done, and we just wanted to show you that it's actually right at 13 7/8, which is what we measured a minute ago. So we're going to continue with 2 more cuts like that, and then 3 more holes.
All right, guys, that went pretty well. I will say this. We've cut a lot of holes with this circle jig. I've never had it drop down in there and start spinning like it just did. But what I really wanted to show you was when you think about on all the other cuts until you get to the final cut, you're still being held in place by the wood and your pin. But when you're making that final cut and you're all the way through the wood, you're still held in place. But when you get back to the very first spot where you started, with that third cut, you need to make sure that you're pushing the router just a little bit away, because if not, you could accidentally come over in and cut into your wood. So you want to be prepared for that last little bit. We usually have what we have right here is just a tiny little thing sticking out that we'll hit with the, gosh, you could do it with sandpaper. We usually get the die grinder and just hit that a couple times with the die grinder to make that little bitty thing right there go away. So, but that's the process. We're going to do that. We won't show you every single cut, but we're going to go ahead and knock out them other 3 holes, and then we'll show you the board when all 4 holes are in the board.
All right, guys, we're about to cut the last cut of the 4th hole. So yeah, this will be our 12th cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I just wanted to say this is very exciting, seeing 4 holes. I've been talking about a box for 415s for about 3 years. My current box that's in the Tahoe with the lights and everything, it's been in there since the day after Christmas of 2021. And today is the December 29th, 2024. So it's been 3 years and 3 days since I've had my other box. And I've pretty much been talking about a box for 415s ever since that one got built. I love that box, but I knew if I was going to get louder, I'd want to do it with 415s. So, yeah.
All right, cool. And we've learned too, what we normally do is have a sacrificial piece of 3/4 inch laying up under here that just kind of stays underneath the whole thing, and it supports everything very well. The piece you're keeping, the discarded piece, it's all supported. So when you get to that last little bit, it's still all supported pretty good. We've got it elevated today with some 2x4s, and we realized that was too far of a drop. We didn't mess nothing up by doing that, but we just realized we started supporting. After I get past here on this last cut, we'll move this 2x4 up under here to support this piece of wood. And then when I get to the last piece, when it's finally free, it won't need to drop so far. And that's why, I don't know, that spinning thing happened over there a while ago, but you'll notice that 2x4 comes over there for the end of the cut. All right, let's get it cut.
All right, guys, we got all 4 holes cut out. It's pretty exciting. Like I said, this has been in the talks for several years now. It's cool to see, our top piece. I don't know if this will end up being the very top piece, but one of the 3 top pieces. It's cool that we got, all 4 15 holes cut out. So there'll be 4 XV3s in each, 1 in each hole, 4 total. But yeah, this is pretty cool. We got all the other pieces put together. They're inside the house drying right now. And then, we'll just cut the other 2 boards to match this one, put these 3 together, and then the box will be ready to be assembled. So.
All right, guys. Yeah, if you've never used a circle jig, there is nothing like a circle jig. If y'all can tell, look at these holes. Look how perfect. You talk about cutting a round hole. Boy, back in the early 90s, I made a bunch of boxes myself at home with a jigsaw. Oh my gosh. They were not even close to being perfectly circle. They were pretty janky. Sometimes they would be so far out that the basket wouldn't even cover the gap, or you wouldn't have enough extra meat there for your screws. I made some really crappy boxes back in the day, but we started using the circle jig 5-6 years ago, and we've cut a bunch of holes now. We've made several boxes in that time period, and no turning back. We haven't done it any other way since we bought the circle jig. The next process, we have to make 2 more of these boards match this one as perfect as possible. So the right way to do that is we'll lay a board under there. It'll be a full piece with no holes in it, and we'll use what's called a flush trim bit. So the bit that goes in the router will have the cutting portion on the bottom side and a bearing on the top side, and you'll plunge that down in there, and you'll ride the bearing on this piece that's already cut, and it perfectly makes that second piece underneath. If you can just imagine, if this was the other piece under there, it will make this piece match this piece, and it does a great job. And if we do that one at a time and work our way down, they'll all sit perfectly together. If we took all 3 boards and we made those measurements and just tried to hit the center of all the squares like we did on this one, by the time we stacked them 3 on top of each other, they would all be off just a little bit, and that's not the right way to do that. So we will flush trim the other 2. That's the reason why we did not go ahead and glue these 3 boards together, is because we knew we wanted to cut the first one and flush trim the next 2. So that's the next step. We're not going to get to that today. It'll be a few days. We may tackle that on New Year's Day, which is a few days from now. But that might be our project for New Year's Day. Like I said, we always are working on car audio on New Year's Day for some reason. So thank y'all so much for watching. This might be the end of this video. I'm going to see how much content it was. I feel like we filmed a lot of minutes of content today. So this may be the end of this video, or it may not. I'm not sure just yet. But thanks for watching. Please stay tuned for the build. We're excited about all the rest that's to come, and then ultimately listening to this thing. So show season is on the way. You're going to have a chance to see this build this year if you want to. Our plan is to hit 2 or 3 shows. I don't know how many, but to hit some shows in this Tahoe and give out demos. So it'd be cool to meet you guys in person, let y'all sit in this Tahoe that y'all been seeing for a while, and just listen to it. So we got some cool stuff going on this year that we're excited about. So thanks for watching. Please come back for more. We got a lot more to come. Thanks a bunch.